us. Take a look at these hands. Take a look at these hands. I don't have to mention it. No thanks. I'm a government man.
Same as it ever was. Same as it ever was. Same as it ever
mental health. You may ask yourself, where does that highway go to? And you may ask yourself, am I right? Am I wrong? And you may say to yourself, my God, what have I done? Letting the days go by, let the water hold me down. Letting the days go by, water flowing underground into the blue again, into the silent water, under the rocks and stones. There is water underground. Letting the days go by, let the water hold me down. Letting the days go by, water flowing underground into the blue again, after the money's gone. Once in a lifetime, water flowing underground. Same as it ever was. Same as it ever was. Same as it ever was. Look where my hand was. Time isn't holding up. Time isn't after us. Same as it ever was. 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 Here a twister comes. Here comes the twister. Same as it ever was. 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 Once in a lifetime. Lost my shape, trying to act casual. Can't stop. I might end up in the hospital, changing my shape. I feel like an accident. They're back to explain their experience. I'm ready to leave. I push the facts in front of me. Facts lost. Facts are never they seem to me. Nothing there. No information left of any kind. Lifting my head. Looking for the danger signs. There was a line, there was a formula, sharp as a knife, fox got a hole in us. There was a line, there was a formula, sharp as a knife, fox got a hole in us. long time I felt without style or grace, wearing shoes with no socks in cold weather. I knew my heart was in the right place. I knew I'd be able to do these things. As we watch him digging his own grave, it was important to know that was where he's at. Can't afford to stop, that is what he believed. He'll keep on digging for 1,000 years.
I'm walking alone. I'm thinking about emotion. I'm walking alone, just barely enough to be living. Get out of the way, no time to begin. This isn't the time, so nothing was done. Not talking about, not many at all. Not turning around, no trouble at all. You notice there's nothing around you, around you. I'm walking alive, dividing me so.
Never get to say much, never get to talk. Tell us a little bit, but not too much. Right about then, it's where she give up. She has closed her eyes, she has give up hope.
I'm walking alive. I hate to be dreaming in motion. I'm walking alive, just barely enough to be living. Get out of the way, no time to begin. This isn't the time, so nothing was done. Not talking about, not many at all. I'm turning around, no trouble at all. I'm keeping my fingers behind me, behind me. I'm walking alive, dividing me so. I'm walking alive. I'm visiting houses in motion. I'm walking alive, just barely enough to be living. Get out of the way, no time to begin. This isn't the time, so nothing was done. Not talking about, not many at all. I'm turning around, no trouble at all. Two different houses around you, around you. I'm walking alive, dividing me so.
He would see faces in movies, on TV, in magazines, and in books. He thought that some of these faces might be right for him, and that through the years, by keeping an ideal facial structure fixed in his mind, or somewhere in the back of his mind, that he might, by force of will, cause his face to approach those of his ideal. The change would be very subtle. It might take 10 years or so. Gradually his face would change its shape. A more hooked nose, wider, thinner lips, beady eyes, a larger forehead. He imagined that this was an ability he shared with most other people. They had also molded their faces according to some ideal. Maybe they imagined a new face would better suit their personality. Or maybe they imagined that their personality would be forced to change to fit the new appearance. This is why first impressions are often correct. Although some people might have made mistakes, they may have arrived at an appearance that bears no relationship to them. They may have picked an ideal appearance based on some childish whim or momentary impulse. Some may have gotten halfway there and then changed their minds. He wonders if he too might have made a similar mistake.
Drive them away.
force of the wind around him. He feels the power of the past behind him. He has the knowledge of the wind to guide him on. The wind in my heart, the wind in my heart, dust in my head, dust in my head. The wind in my heart, the wind in my heart, drive them away, drive them away. The wind in my heart, the wind in my heart, dust in my head, dust in my head. The wind in my heart, the wind in my heart, drive them away. Terrible signal, too weak to even recognize. Gentle collapsing, the removal of the insides. I'm touched by your pleas. I value these moments. We're older than we realize. In someone's eyes. Frequent returning and leaving unnoticed, a condition of mercy, a change in the weather, a view to remember. The center is missing. They question how